Just fixing some of the settings. Gonna check the audio. Just fixing some of the settings. Gonna check the audio. Okay, audio sounds good. Well, I'm here to see if anything's sold so I can go and gamble away more of my EC. Yep. Watch as I don't get a ship and toss away yet another 300 million. Just gonna check the audio again quick. Can you guys hear me fine? Or do I need to up the volume on the microphone? I'll take that. Getting 2 ships is pretty rare nowadays. It seems like the ship drops have gone a bit rare since they did the changes like 3 or so months ago. Wait to use those, I think. The prices are still a bit low on most of the Infinity ships. So if anyone has any STO questions, just go ahead and ask. Hopefully it's coming through a bit smoother. I figured out a good reason, or a big part of why I was getting so much lag was I was trying to use my external display and have the game on it. When I have the game on my laptop screen, especially if I go full screen, it usually helps. And sorry for any background. I seem to have very bad timing with when they like to go and take care of the yard. I'm gonna go up to space, check my cooldowns. Just about 70. I got lucky and got 2 ships. Let me tell you, getting 2 ships in even... But like when you go and open a bunch, no matter the amount, it seems to get 2 ships now is much more of a pain. Yeah, I think it was 67 keys to be exact. Hold on, I'm gonna see what this message is. Okay, let's see if this lag's really bad in the red alert again. Actually, let's just go straight for ISA. I'm gonna gate dope so I can get some numbers for hack overflow. Either I'm going to be able to do something in this ISA or it's gonna lag out. It's probably going to lag out. An HSE I did on this thing last night was just terrible performance. Like 10 to 15 FPS for most of the first phase. Speaking of it, they actually buffed up a lot of the Qs HP wise. Hive Space Elite gained like 70 million HP total. I'll catch up on chat after this. Yeah, these Transformers certainly have a bit more HP or something. Even with the lag I have, they should be going down a bit. I'm pulling too much threat. Way too much threat. Now I'm on pure CRF. Okay, I can't show SCM. I'm in a tank. I'm not in a tank on this setup. Just because it's a cruiser doesn't mean it's a tank. Okay, Mike, let's see. Have I tested the Martok 360? I was using the Omni there for a bit, but I just don't have room for that on most of my builds right now. And I don't remember if that one had a turret option. I don't believe it did. I think it was just the Omni. And with these rapid fire builds, you really lose out if you drop a turret for an Omni. But Revy, that's terrible. Gotta be trolling there. So I had 161k there. Ugh. That was pretty bad overall 4-minute run. It'll be better. I'll have my desktop back up and running on Monday so I can actually play things again. I can't show the parse on OBS on my laptop because any window that's not being ran by the dedicated graphics card in the laptop, it's just an issue because there's two different GPUs and OBS can only work with one at a time. But the Spiral Waves did 38k. I have 2 of them on. I'll pull the build up. This is not a tank. This is basically just going for full CRF damage on a Federation option. Based on what Tenor's been doing with it, the Kelvin Timeline Intel Dread, the Vengeance, is the closest thing Federations have to the Scimitar. Just because of how it's laid out. If you go look at the DPS table, look at HSC, you'll see there's actually Vengeances above Scimitars on that table. I'm going to check the table again right now, but it should, yeah, it's still. Vengeances hold all the top records right now in HSC. That'll change once I can get my Scimitar in some HSCs and actually play them on Monday, but that's some crazy numbers there. So I can't show it on screen here, but in HSC, we have seen the total map HP go up from 100 to 130 mil to upwards of 170 to 200 from what I've seen from some. The 200s for really, really slow runs, but still, 170 million, that's quite an increase for the faster runs. Need to see some stuff here. Yeah, CRF on the McKee will be pretty nice. I've got the McKee on my ROM TAC, but I haven't messed with it at all yet. I was messing with the Jemadar Light Battle Cruiser over there, but that's not that great of a... I mean, it's a good ship, it's just limited compared to other options. Having just the 4 bridge officer seatings just really hurts. But I went through and earlier this week I leveled up the Recon ship and the Husnock on my Fed here. So when I've got my desktop back up and running, what I want to do is do a bunch of CRF builds on some more Federation ships. Like I want to get the NX done. I want to get something on the Defiant with phasers and rapid fire. I know rapid fire is not the most affordable option, but it's really nice and it looks more canon, like to the shows, than scatter volley. And I think I might even go and try it on the Galaxy X because that thing can use cannons. That'll be interesting if that gets any good results. What else can I run here? Oh, there's a Kittimer. I don't think the Vengeance should like beat the Scimitar fully for rapid fire or scatter volley builds because the flagship console set is really good and Romulans do have a few other advantages. But the Vengeance has a good weapon layout. It's got decent hanger pets. The seating on it, you have a temporal seat so you can use the Husnock trait, which you can't do on the Scimitar with constant uptime. You've got intel abilities, so you can run OSS. You do have a cloak. It's not a battle cloak, though, so that one doesn't really compete with the Scimitar cloak. And it is a cruiser, so you have cruiser commands. So those are the things that it has that make it like competitive with the Scimitar. But the Scimitar, I think, is still capable of higher numbers. It's just a matter of getting in a very good run to get those numbers. Joshua, those could possibly be turned into PvP builds, but if you're on a Fed, you're typically pretty screwed when it comes to PvP builds right now. I mean, Omega would have a better idea than I. He actually just posted a video yesterday, Omega Fighter here on YouTube, for one of his PvP builds, but I think that was for the Engineer Pilot Warbird, which is the best PvP escort right now. So the recon versus strike ship is a question of would you rather have pilot abilities or command? That's basically the only difference. And it's personal preference, really. I know a lot of PvPers really like the recon ship. I went with the strike ship first because some of the command stuff, can be nice, like rally point marker you just drop that, but I ended up not even using that, so. The other thing with the strike versus recon is where the intel seat is. With the strike ship, the intel is on lieutenant commander tax, so you can easily put a bunch of those abilities onto spam. Whereas on the recon ship, if I recall, it's not on the most ideal seat. Hello. Let's see how this Kittimer goes. I can't even get SCM to pop up on here for you guys because it's being run through the integrated Intel graphics card, so. There's a sphere up there, but it's too much of a pain to try and hit. Can't hit stuff fast enough on this thing. Yeah, I have some Elite Foundry missions that I've set up. Can't get my shots out fast enough to kill me through this. No. I'm just having issues trying to get stuff to activate fast enough here. Yeah, this is just way too laggy. Does anyone have any questions? And how laggy is that coming through on the video side for you guys? Iron Bassist, PC, PS4, Xbox One. I saw the layout for this game on consoles, and there's no way I could ever play this game on a console layout. It's extremely limited compared to PC. And with PC, you get all the updates first. PS4, Xbox One have to wait. like 3 months or something, pretty much. I'd have to look at the numbers on the Cardassian bridge officers again. Hugo, do you know what those numbers are? Wasn't it like 2% up to 5 stacks or something? Or am I thinking of the wrong thing? Frank, I have not actually used any of the new Cardassian ships yet. Shortly after Victory's Life went out, my graphics card in my desktop went out, and trying to do anything on this laptop can be rather frustrating. There are already Cardassian bridge officers out there that the Cardassians can get. Normal Fed should be able to get them too, I imagine. I think they're still looking into adding other ways to get the Cardassian bridge officers, though, like some duty officer missions. I haven't quite looked into them that much. My focus was on the Vanguard bridge officers. Any builds you would recommend for Fed Inch for PvE? I would recommend taking a look at STO builds on Reddit. What exactly are you going for? Are you going for a tank? Like DPS? Specifics there. There's just so many different things you can do there. I mean, if you want to go and do STO on consoles, go for it. Just from everything I have seen, you're getting everything later on. You have a much more limited, severely limited layout. You can't set up trays like this. Instead, you have to go through and rotate. There's some like ability wheels, which are just absolutely terrible. And I need to change this Defiant. This thing is outdated. It's just extremely limited over there. I mean, if you want to go for it, go for it. I'm just saying, it's compared to PC, it's severely limited. I'm not even going to do the phase retort. Well, Grim, it's not even about, console versus PC, like, performance-wise. It's just that the game is actually, like, the layout of the game is so limited on console. mostly for Pug. Well, there's all I can say there is then it depends on the ship. The mobile torpedo turret console. Yeah, I did like a run with it before my graphics card went out, and it didn't have the most impressive results in the run I did, but that's something that certainly still needs a bit of testing. I need to discard some stuff. Just setting up the ship and going to go through a very laggy red alert or something with it because everything lags right now. I'll leave the quantum warhead on, I guess. Yeah, I think that works. I should have bought more inventory space for this character. You ever had to look at the Endorian cannons, the special of the ship? So, like the, what is it? The wing cannons that come on the Endorian ship, those are pretty good, but like the Endorian phasers that you get from the Dill store, those are just regular phasers except for they're blue. But the wing cannons are comparable to the quad cannons, if I recall. It's been a while since I actually used them. The lag. There's always lag. If you want to see lag, go into Hive Space Elite with your parser on with a high DPS team. That first phase will just be a slideshow at the start. Okay, I'm not going to run a torp on this, and I don't need the Husnock trait. Okay, don't think there's much else I can do right there. This hold together, I usually just put on the spam bar. It's just another hazard emitters, basically. Heard lots of good and bad about preferential targeting. So, if you had to choose between it and the Husnock trait, and you were on a ship that could use a low-ranking temporal bridge officer ability to keep the Husnock trait up, that's the directed energy flux trait that I just swapped off. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So this is 25% Cat 2 for the Husnock trait there. But preferential targeting is 100% Cat 1, so basically 3 TAC consoles. Slightly less now, actually, but it's good. It is not as big of a deal as that directed energy flux trait is if you can actually run a temporal ability to keep it up. But for a lot of ships, you don't really have many other options to buff up the rapid fire or beam overload, so it can actually work pretty well in those situations. Yeah, the NX would be able to run the Husnock trait. If you can run both, that's even better. But I end up running just preferential targeting most of the time because it's all most ships can afford to slot. On these rapid fire builds, all you have to do for it is slot a fire at will 1 and just hit it. Put it on your spacebar. That's it. The actual cannon that comes on the T5 ship, so those ones I haven't messed with too much. I bought the Andorian ships, like the T5 ones, at the same time as the T6 ones, so my playtime with those is very limited. I believe I upgraded that cannon, but I think it was bugged those first few weeks, and then I wasn't playing my Fed TAC anytime soon after that, so. What do I think about 5 dual beams with the over in the front and 1 to 2 omnis in the back? So you're going to be losing damage overall with the overmod on your weapons. Yeah, it can be fun. It's just the amount of times it procs, it's just so low. It's often not worth using. And about the colony holding, is there anything worth getting in the final tiers? The TAC consoles are pretty good. The issue is that you have to be running just one damage type for them, so you can't get them in a mixed variant for like cannons like you can with the Spire ones. So you can only get basically like phaser, disruptor, you know, the 6 normal types for energy weapons, and then you have all the various types for projectiles. So that's an issue those have. Hopefully they go through and add the other variants here soon, but we'll have to wait and see. Those are the only big things from Tier 5, because the other things you have are the weapons. Let me pull those up here. Let me slot this quick. So infrastructure has the weapons, which were nerfed already. They're not worth running, so infrastructure Tier 5 isn't anything to worry about. Morale Tier 5 has the Kantari Bridge Officers, which you can already go and get a map invite to fleets that have this done already. There's like 1 or 2 of them that I know. And just running one of them doesn't hurt, but I wouldn't do it on a Romulan. It's just a good option for a Fed or a Klingon. And I wouldn't slot them over like a superior Romulan operative bridge officer. First Vanguard, it's hard to say. But we'll need to see some more numbers. That's up to 10% Cat 2. And if you're running rapid fire, it's already an automatic no. Because you have to be killing a bunch of things fast for that to stay up. So it's good for AoE builds. Okay, so for this, what happened to Terran? Okay, there it is. Terran, quad cannons, prolonged, and then the spirals. So these are all sort of similar colors. Let's take it in and see how it looks. The only thing that's green is the heavy turret. I guess Borg is always fun for the Defiant. Let's go right for that tack cube. I don't have the cloak on here. I figured they were gonna take out another group. Yep, there they go. It's very laggy on my side, so it's like I go up against a target and a few frames later they're dead. I can't give any good piloting when I'm sub 20 FPS like most of the time. Like any good piloting tips like to show them, but it's all a matter of getting patterns down. Like when we talk about piloting, it's you got to know when to hit your abilities. You know, get a good cycle down. You see a lot of new people that come in and they'll hit their abilities maybe once. You know, they'll manually click them, and then that's it. That's all they do. Well, no wonder they suck. They're not hitting their abilities. Your bridge officer abilities, all these things, these are all important. It's why consoles can be a bit limited when it comes to the layout. You can put auto activation on most of these things on console, but there's a lot of things you need to be able to manually time. Like, you don't want to waste your alpha. You don't want to be too far away like I was in that run we just did and the Kidam I did before. Where I was too far away and activated my stuff early because these aren't up forever, so I burnt some of the uptime on them because I activated them too far away. So you want to activate stuff when you're near target. Piloting is all about minimizing downtime between targets and like your major buffs. You just don't want to waste stuff. Let's go melt a Tholian boss. Oh. Oh, you got the numbers. So if it's just a flat buff for those Cardassian bridge officers, then Pirate wins. So DPRM, if you're not concerned about survivability, if you're in like an ISA, you would activate it at the sides. Typically I hit mine when we're going to go up against the tack cube and gate. Point bombardment, you would hit against one of the generators or transformers, in ISA. You want to hit that against something that's going to be there for a long time. Being able to see the front of your ship also helps. Okay. Can't even target the nodes. So piloting, don't do what I just did right there. Gotta be kidding me. Is that show FPS command working again? I need to see, 'cause this FPS is terrible. So you're on. Nope, show FPS is not working. There we go. I can actually get the GeForce one to pop up at least for your shadow play. Okay. Let's make sure everything's turned on. And that did literally nothing. That lowered my FPS for a minute. Okay, now it just looks completely terrible and there's no performance impact. The CPU can surely handle it. It's this graphics card on this just cannot. But something sold, so let's beam down and do the most important thing, which is gamble away EC. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that question. Is Nakul Tudari Raider a viable option for Fed? I haven't been PvPing in a while, especially since Victory is Life. I mean, it's something you could try. I know some people used to run it, but if you want to know for sure, I would recommend asking Omega Fighter. Let me see if he's not here. Let me. Oh, he's not online. For PvP stuff, like right now, especially I wasn't doing PvP for like a month or two before Victory is Life, and I haven't. Okay, you know. Yeah, he would be much more familiar with the current up-to-date stuff in PvP. Because I swapped back to like a DPS focus for PvE a few months before Victorious Life, and sort of stopped doing PvP there again for a bit. Best rep torp. So yeah, the grav torp is really good for rep torp. That is the only one like I run on my Psy boat that would come from a rep that I'd actually be using. I'd use that alongside the pep on an EPG boat. Can you have mod? No. Can there be more 10 packs? Here they are. Nope. No luck there. There's another 200 and something million down the drain. Gambling is bad. That's all I gotta say. So I was working on a video earlier this week just to try to burn through some time. I think it was Sunday. And I opened 180 lockboxes, Infinity ones, to see if you could actually profit. I'm gonna do it again before I actually do the release that video. So I'll probably wait for my desktop to try it again. But so I spent 800 million, and I did 180 Infinity lockboxes on a Klingon. So you always want to open, if you want to make your money back off a lockbox, you open on a Klingon or Romulan. If you open on a Fed, then you're trying to make EC. The answer to that is you're an idiot and you're burning your EC. Everyone opens on a Fed, and you're competing with most of the player base. Not trying to sound angry at that. It's just if you open on a Fed and you're trying to make EC off of opening boxes, you're just burning your EC. It's already very hard to profit when you're opening Klingon or Romulan, and everything they have sells for quite a bit more usually. So you're just putting yourself at a significant disadvantage at the point where there's basically no way you can profit unless you get extremely lucky and get multiple ships opening on a Fed. But in the first test I did, the basically what you had to do was with the 800 million, that gets you 180 keys. That 180 keys is enough to get you the 900 low buy you need to get a low buy ship, which would recover about 250 of the 800 million investment. So that leaves you with needing to get, about 550 mil. So I got one ship out of the 180 boxes. That knocked off another 300. So you then need the other 179 boxes to be worth, what was it, 250 million? And that's not as easy as it sounds. So after you put all the work through to sell all of the items, what I calculated off the first attempt was that I made maybe 10% on top of getting my initial 800 back. So it's just a ton of work, which you can easily get screwed over. If you don't win a ship, you don't profit. So if I hadn't won a ship out of the 180, I would have lost 2 to 300 million. Because the other items in the box just aren't worth it. Like, they don't get you your money back. I should be saving up and trying to get the EC ready to go and do that again here, but I keep opening more boxes. It's not very smart. Well, I'm here. I'm gonna just check, see if any of my daily stuff is done on my Gemidar. I'll have 12 of the reps, like, at tier 5. Actually, how many is it? Everything but Gamma will be at tier 5 in just a few days. Yeah, most of these are at 75k. Gamma's at 40k. And Dane Brimage, there's never enough low buy. I keep flipping through the amount of low buy I have, so I should be waiting for a ship sale. That's what I should be doing, but I just keep flipping it to buy more keys. At least these Admiralties, these get so much easier when you get up to like 8 and 9. You do the Tour of Duty daily, and that gets you like 8k XP with the daily bonus. Go look here. Yeah, so I collected the Romulan Tour of Duty, and I hadn't already got the daily bonus, so that gave me 8,400. And the daily cap is 10,000 XP for Admiralty in each category, so that gets you a good chunk of what you need. Is the Gamma Recruit still running? Yes. Oh, yes. I got 925 low buy out of the 180 lockboxes. And I did that on holodeck, so. Let's see here. Good enough. I've got enough ships that I don't care if it's the most ideal combination. I just am going to toss them at it. Yeah, it's like the average amount of low buy you get when you're mass opening boxes, like that's been worked out to be like 5.4 or something, I believe. People worked that out a very long time ago, and that's still been consistent. The only thing I will say that's changed is the Infinity boxes do not give you tier 6 ships as much as they used to. They removed that ultra rare, the epic quality box a while back, like 3 months ago. And ever since then, the amount of ships you get seems to be just a bit lower. It's really rare to get 2 ships in a row now. Like the 2 I got when I was opening boxes at the start of the stream, that's only the second time I've had 2 boxes pop up when I'm opening lock boxes, in one go, since that change. So what I'm thinking about doing is, when I do the next 180, I think I'm gonna stop after I get a if I get a ship. Because in the first batch 180 I did, I got the ship in like the first 40 boxes, and then there was nothing for the 140 after that or whatever. I think right now you're pretty much better off if you get a ship, you stop opening and give it some time, like wait 10 to 15 minutes or till the if you want to follow the ideal times for opening boxes that I went over in my lockbox video, wait for the next ideal time, then pop open the rest then. I think that would probably give you a bit better luck now if you're opening a large amount of boxes at a time, because it just feels to me that the ships do not drop as much in a row as they used to. Sorry, just staring at my Admiralty screen. I was responding to something on my phone. Thousand key? Oof. Oh, I'm a bit ahead of you there. Lockbox Anonymous? I have a fleet with that name already. Lockbox Gamblers Anonymous. It's just a bank fleet though, but like I wish there was some way to see how many boxes I've actually opened, because I think that would be a scarier number than my total playtime in this game. While I'm on this character. I can just delete all this mail. Well, I haven't spent real money on the keys though. Like, that's the thing, is I've just constantly flipped the in-game assets like over and over. Like I made a really large amount of EC when the Infinity first came out, and then I just kept flipping. Like that first week Infinity was out. Just to put it into perspective, I opened probably just at that point. I was able to keep flipping items because people were paying the old values on items. So you'd get a chemo site and it'd still sell for like 100 million there initially, and then it slowly went down, but you get the point. Leech would still go for absurd amounts. Inspirational Leader and a bunch of the other traits were still going for 40, 50 million. Hold on. But yeah, it was just crazy. Being a troll there with them Curlins. Yeah, those things tanked really fast. Let's check cooldowns. Yeah, the dill stuff, doing the contraband, that helps. To be honest, I find it, even though it only takes like 20 minutes, I find that often I don't even bother with it. I do it when I need to do it, and it's nice to have the characters set up standing at the security officer. So if I do want to go through and get the stuff, it's just a few clicks away. But I'm not urgently in need of dilithium or anything, so I'm not bothering to do all the contraband stuff daily right now. $25K to go till we get this thing finally filled. I wonder if it's going to make us do the tier 5 upgrade again. We already have it done, but it says it's tier 4. I wonder if it'll automatically fix itself. I wonder how other fleets in the Armada are doing. A lot of tier 3s, like 3 or 4 tier 4s I saw. Yeah, I don't have my colony up at tier 4 on the KDS side. The cost is just so stupid. And just think, we're only like another 3 months away from a new fleet holding if they follow their usual trend. Just buying those packs, those should not give extra character slots. Are you a lifetime subscriber? Because it sounds like you're at the free-to-play character cap. I think the only way you're going to get anything more than that is to be a lifetime member. Yeah, that's what I'm honestly expecting. We don't have any information. There's nothing even on the sites we're not supposed to talk about. You know, there's nothing there about it. It's just they're going to do it. At this point, everything that happens in this game follows a trend. We're gonna have a Herc lockbox in probably 3 to 6 months. People are gonna be surprised, but that's how it always is. We already know that there's certain, like, it's not much of a spoiler. Gecko tweeted about it, so if you're worried about spoilers, just mute for a minute. But with season 15 this fall, we know it's going to be discovery focused. So there's going to probably be, if they're really trying to milk it, they'll probably do another discovery lockbox or a promo ship. Is this gear gonna go? So I think that is the only way you're gonna get more character slots then, is if you go with a lifetime, and that is $200 on sale right now for PC. On consoles, I believe it's just fixed at $200. But I think consoles, you get it a little bit cheaper also right now because you don't get the $5 worth of Zen each month. That's only on PC that lifers get that. Honestly, I was tempted again to go and pick up the lifetime. I'll have the money again next week if I want to. But it's the question of, I've already got like an 800-day subscription that's been going on. For how many years? I was playing this game. I started back when I was in high school and continued, going through college here, and there's a lot of time in the past where I just didn't have the money to go out and buy a lifetime, so I was buying the 2-month time cards off of Amazon. That was $15 back then for a 60-day time card, so I just did that for how long? Because dropping 15 every other month was something I could do compared to dumping $200 to $300 on a lifetime. But like right now, I don't think for my case lifetime would be worth it, and I don't know if it'd be worth it for most others, honestly. Dane mentioned, how long did it take with the dilithium grinding to get my investment back? So, oh boy. So before I went and made all the characters I have for the contraband stuff, I already had 20 because I was slowly getting into it. But then I made a jump and bought the like 28 or 30 extra slots. I think it was just 28 back then. So what is that? That's like $70. But that was back when you could do the contraband 4 times a day. You could do it every 4 hours. So I think back then I was basically getting like 15 to $16 worth of dilithium daily. So what would that have been? Like if you want to just go by that, then I technically would have made my investment back within a week. It would have been a matter of days. Like 4 days maybe? But that was way different back then. Now you'd be looking at... I think now you'd have it back within a month. This isn't going to go anywhere. I guess we could try ISA. I'm going to die a lot though. STO is in a very weird state. The end game makes it hard for people to stay around. Cryptic seems to have no plans to take care of things anytime soon there. But there's always people in, so it's just really hard to say. What did I join? Yeah, these transformers got a bit more resistance, or I'm just lagging too much, but this thing should be dropping more, even with the generators out. I don't know how bad this is for you guys, but it's saying I'm at 7 FPS right now. Yeah, I don't have the firepower right now with this to knock that transformer out before all these gens. Nope. The Defiant is for my immersion. I'm pulling way too much threat on the rapid fire build. I should not be pulling threat on a single target focus build like this. Nah. There's not much I can do here. Something's still alive. I'm gonna pull up the parse here. That was just an incredibly bad run. So, I'll have my graphics card back on Monday, so UPS is delivering it, so it'll probably be here late then. I might do a stream on Tuesday or Wednesday also. Just to actually mess around with stuff. Maybe to see if I can get some hives going. It's just incredibly hard to actually play when you're getting like sub 10, 20 FPS in combat. Like when I was at the right side in there, shooting those spheres, I was at 4 FPS according to the shadow play thingy at the bottom right. I don't remember the exact stats of those two ships, so I mean, yeah, the Raider's going to do more for DPS, but the carrier, I think the carrier was science focused. And yeah, this map is the captain's table. It's a decent looking map. It's a bit outdated, but it's always pretty quiet. So if you want to get like screenshots of a ship or something, When I used to do like some of my old build videos, I would come over here, go up over here because no one's ever in this map. No one goes here. It's usually got like nobody in it, even on the ground portion of it. That ISA I did parse it was 134K. And once again, I can't get SCM or any other window to really show up on OBS here because there's the integrated Intel graphics and then there's the dedicated card which the game's on, and OBS is going and picking up. It can only do one or the other, so it's either I have STO up or I don't have STO up, so that is a sacrifice I have to make while using this laptop. The ground portion of it has nice portions. It's just, you can tell it's from an earlier time in the game. Like, you know, the ceilings are all really high. It's really large spaces. It's hard to really show off when you've got the graphics settings turned down a bit. You got people from all the races here. It's a neat map. It's just large, and you can see the textures are, of course, you know, older. The starbase thing near Romulus. Yeah, that could be something interesting to do, but I think that's something else I'll wait for my desktop to be running to do. Yeah, Starbase, there's certainly better places to test than ISA. I'll go for an attack cube. I almost forgot. Now that helps my immersion greatly right there. Just going in and melting a board cube. Where's what at? The captain's table? The captain's table is this portal that's on. It's in Sol System and somewhere on the Konos space map. It's exclusive to lifetime members and people that have a certain amount of days subscribed. I forget what tier it's at. I know I've had it for a while, so I think it's like 500 or something. 500 days or being a lifetime. It's time to see if anything else is sold. Oh, wrong character. Nope. I saw lockbox in the name and immediately clicked it. This is an alt that hasn't really done much, just 7 days. You want to see the scary number though? Let's go look at the character that's going to have a lot of playtime. The issue is for me is with the playtime is I leave the game open most of the day, even if I'm not actually playing. I'll just move around and see if something is sold, you know, and then I'll go and alt tab back to whatever else I'm doing. With my desktop, I'll have the game open while I'm playing other games. You know, it's highly inflated, and I say that as a defense for this terrible number. Surprisingly, there's a few people I've met that have much higher numbers. I remember Link from Hobos. He like this was ages ago, at least 2-3 years ago, and he was showing off like 400 or 500 days playtime, pretty much on 24/7, and not via XMPP. He was actually in game. It's a scary, scary number. Let's see here. Has anyone got any questions? Well, I wouldn't worry about this. Like, the amount of people that played this game, a lot, there's quite a few. Gallon, when I asked Spartan for the numbers a while back, it was like 15,000. It was really, really scary numbers. My oldest character, this is my first. So, I've bashed on science a few times in the past. I've bashed on engineers a lot more. But, my main was a science. Not as much playtime, but still too much. This character was the first one on this account. About 6 years ago. So if you want to go and see when you made your character, just go to the missions window, go to logs, go all the way to the bottom, hit welcome to Star Trek Online. Tells you exactly when it was made. But the thing is like with my playtime, I'm not as worried about it because I know that 50 to 75% of it is me being like this. And just being like this near an exchange somewhere. And then I've got something else open because I do most of my classes online. So, I've got multiple monitors and I'll just leave STO open on one of them. It is a sad amount of playtime, but it's not as bad as it looks, which I imagine it is similar for most people because STO is not a game where you're actually going around and doing things constantly. So much of it is just waiting for stuff like rep projects, DOF missions, whatever. It's just so much waiting. It's not as bad as some other games, though. Like, I've mentioned Destiny 2 in the past, and one of the things I hate with that game is if you're doing any of the faster content, like a PvP match or some of the PvE stuff, the load time to get into stuff is just terrible. Like, we were doing some PvPs over there about a month or two back, and me and some friends, and just, it was crazy. Like, we were taking upwards of 5 minutes in some cases to load into a PvP that was only going to last 3 to 5 minutes. It was just ridiculous. Hold on, see what this message is. Also, when I do get my desktop up and running again, I've got a few videos I want to catch up on. Like I mentioned, the lockbox one, Can You Actually Profit? The first attempt I did resulted in about 10% profit, but it's hard to go just based off of one time, so I'm probably going to want to try to do that 1 to 2 more times just to get good numbers. I know I've got a few builds I want to do. I have a giveaway planned here for some point too. I need to verify the code is working with Cryptic or Perfect World Sport, whatever. Trying to think what else. I got a few build videos. Like I got the rapid fire stuff on my Fed here now, so I know I can also use some of these ships on my Romulan, so I may do that with some of them, but I'm going to do something, as I mentioned, with the Defiant, which you already see me messing with here. I already showed the NX a while back, but now that I have Rapid Fire, I might change things up a bit because, as I said earlier, I think Rapid Fire looks better. You know, when you look at Scatter Volley, the visual on it I hate the visual on Scatter Volley. It doesn't look like what you saw in the shows, you know, it's just going all over the place. With Rapid Fire, it seems like more what you saw with the shows. Hello. And for beam builds, what would you think max DPS can squeeze out of them, or is the cannon builds just far above in DPS now? So, I haven't run beam builds in quite a while now. I can't say what I think the max DPS is for them. We still see, if you're looking at ISA, you still see quite a few beam builds up there, but if I go and look at Hive Space Elite, I gave up after like the top 15-20 when I looked month or so back because I just couldn't see any people with beams doing a lot of DPS in there. I think if you're just doing casual, if you're just playing the game, not doing any really high min-max stuff, you can do fine with beams. But if you want to start getting into that min-max territory, you want to start getting really crazy numbers, or just being able to blaze through content stupidly fast, then going for cannons is sort of a requirement right now. Vanguard Space Buff. Yeah, I've got him on this character. Or I don't have him on this ship, actually. Oops. I haven't set up all of my ships to use them yet, but... So the space is 5% Cat 1, 1% crit chance, and 2.5% severity. It's the same for the innate one that the Vanguard race has. Yeah, Michael. So the reason for it is just because there's so many things that are Klingon exclusive that you can't get from opening boxes on a Fed. You also want to try to mix it up. I personally just open on tax most of the time because that's what most of my characters are. But if you want to also potentially maximize some profits from some of the like round trait boxes or space traits, opening on an engineer size also good. So mixing it up, seeing what's most valuable at the time is good. The active DOFs, so yeah, for space stuff I have Neil Falconer on alongside the Jemadar Epic DOF here, the Space Warfare Specialist that slots into ground for plus 20% Cat 1. But my space DOFs, 3 technicians for Oxtabat, the Emergency Con hologram. Then I have Agent Rule, which you could swap for any other survivability DOF, or if you want to go for more offensive stuff, do whatever. And then I have an Energy Weapon Officer for crit severity with firing energy weapons. But the 4 important ones on space here are the Emergency Con hologram and the 3 technicians for Oxtabat. Any tips to get 6 commendations up in a reasonable amount of time? So, let me see if I can get the Reddit link. I went over some of that in the thread where I showed off the DOF here. Hold on, let me swap to that character while I get this link pulled up. So I got those technicians from the Betran cluster chain, which if you Google that, like Btran, B''Tran, you're gonna get a bunch of guides. That is a chain. Here's the exact spelling if you need it. When you do these, like I think it's 7 missions in the chain, after you do all 7 of them, you get a repeatable assignment that you can do daily that you have a chance to get a purple technician DOF from for Oxtabat. So that's the free way to get it. Otherwise, you can just buy them off the exchange. Why no damage control engineers? Because with Oxtabat, you don't need them. I'm using Oxtabat for my cooldown reduction, not the damage control engineers for Mercy Power to whatever reduction. For like Adam for your power. I mean, if when you're gearing your ship up, it all really depends. What type of content you're doing? Are you going in with pugs or pre-made teams? There's a bunch of different factors that go into that. Like if I know I'm going in with a really high DPS team, I can go offensive. I don't need to worry about survivability. But if I'm going in with some pugs, which not trying to sound elitist, but I know that my fleet support or any hangar pets I have are typically going to outperform one or two of my teammates, in some cases all four of them, then I need to be ready to be basically soloing it, so I need to have some survivability. Are there any other good DOFs from clusters? So I'd recommend checking like the STO wiki for that, because I honestly don't know. I don't do those cluster missions that often. I only did it for the technicians on this character many years ago. Or not this character, the one I was just on. Daily XP reached. Terrible. Even though the daily XP's reached, I'm still going to slot stuff for tomorrow. So I don't have to relog onto this character later. But back to the DOF missions, like outside of the ones that are in that link I posted, like I was doing all of the 4 to 6 hour missions, like that gave around 400 to 600 XP in a category. A big thing too is also make sure you're running 20% commendation bonus pools. They're listed on the exchange as CXP bonus pools. I'll show those in a minute, but these ones tend to be nice, and if you get a crit, it's 2k. So you just keep spamming those. They don't always pop up, but if you look around, you'll see them. Let's go see what those CXP bonus pools are going for right now. I think those are a bit costly because those are pretty rare to drop. I don't think those are actually in Infinity, because I don't have a large stockpile of those, and all the other ones I've gotten tons of. So 600k for the 10k ones, the ultra rares. Let's see. Just put it in. 1.1 million. It's not too bad. If you buy some of these stacks here, you get a much better deal. Like there's a 6 stack for 4.9 million. That's pretty good. But these CXP bonus pools, you want to be running these when you're trying to get your commendations up, because you're just getting a flat 20% bonus on top of whatever you get from the missions. Oops. As I knock over my coffee cup. Yeah, there's like you see a lot of people going and farming stuff, but they never take advantage of these bonus pools. Like there's bonus pools for fleet credits. There's bonus pools for reputation marks. Whatever one of these you run, I mean, you can just stack them up. That's a free 20% bonus for whatever you're running, and most people don't take advantage of them. And it's certainly, let me tell you, if you're wanting to go and buy these things, like typically, before you go and buy any of the very rare ones, look at the ultra rare. Because, like, look here. Here's a 35,000 fleet credit bonus pool, 378k for the ultra rare. And most of these 25,000 ones, when you're looking at the singles, are the same price. So you're paying more for less with the very rares most of the time because people don't know to go up and check the ultra rare thing here. One little step up and you save money usually. And yeah, size can do quite a bit. It's engineers right now that in space they can handle all of the end game stuff. It's just when you start to get into like the really high end and max level of stuff that engineers become very limited. But I won't get too heavily into that because we'll be here all day. Yeah, price on some stuff has shot up, but still, as you saw there, the ultra rares, same thing basically, but you get more for your money. Just need to move some of the stuff around. This character has always been pretty limited on space. So, with the ship sale also over the weekend, I had went and picked up a few ships. So I bought, like, I want to do some videos or something with these ships later on, but I bought, what was it? So the tier 5 galaxy, I bought it for the saucer separation because I want to do something with some of the tier 6 galaxies. Like I want to get some like high-end min-maxed builds on them just to show people that some of these ships can still do well, you know? Because I think a lot of what we see out there, like I've been guilty of this too, where we'll just say something is trash and it gives the false impression to a lot of people that these ships just don't work. But really, you can get most of these ships to work at endgame somehow. So I picked this up so I can get the saucer separation for the tier 6 ones. I did not buy the tier 6 Galaxy Dread though, because the console on it didn't seem that good. Then I also bought the multi-vector, because I already had the tier 6 version of this ship, but now I have the multi-vector console for it, so we'll mess around with that and see if it's worth it. And then for tier 6 ships, I already have most of the ships I'd want to go over, but I picked up the Voyager, wherever it is on this list. Yeah, with the interior, so that'll be something I'll be messing around with on a science build when I get my stuff up and running again, because I just want to show people that a lot of these things still work. If you think that inventory is crazy, let's look at this one. That's the maxed out inventory. Then for bank, it's a bit more space than my the last character has. I need to clear up a lot of these kit modules. I may have opened a few Infinity Lock boxes, as you can see, and gotten screwed over about 3,000 to 4,000 times. Yeah, that's something I know I'm guilty of too. Like, I think I mentioned this last week on the stream I did, but I want to get a few more of those understanding STO videos done, and I want to go over weapon mods and like damage categories for sure. Because I made this Reddit post when Victory's Life came out, you know, about what mods are good, and I will admit, like, I screwed up with the stuff about pen because I was putting in terms of if you had cold-hearted. And if you don't have cold-hearted, pen is still a decent choice. But if you have cold-hearted and all the other stuff nowadays, it's not as big. Sorry, Skullin, I missed your question before. The 31st century temporal raider any good? I mean, it's a good ship. It's not the best. It's a 4-3 layout, which limits it. Or is it 4-2? I don't remember. I've got the ship, but it's one I didn't actually go out and use because of the weapon layout. That's what I remember from that. Yeah, 4-2. I really hate the 6 weapon layout ships, especially when they're 4-2. 5-1 I can handle a little bit, but it's this 4-2 that just really so limiting. Yeah, you can make anything work for most of the content in this game. It's just when you're getting into like the high-end min-max stuff, or especially if you're wanting to do some of the harder elites right now, like Hive Elite or especially Core Fez, where you have to go in with a bit more of a min-max build because those tend to be a lot harder, especially Hive now that they've buffed the HP up quite a bit. Yeah, the temporal command abilities, like the commander for having a commander temporal seat, those sort of screw you over in most builds unless you're a like a healer, or like it's hard to say, like a science build. Those are the only two situations where you even want to use those, because you're either sacrificing healing, damage, speed. You know, you're sacrificing something. T5 ships. Well, most T5s can go to T5U. You can even buy those tokens on the exchange if you're worried about spending Zen on them. Let's see what those are. I mean, there's still some good options there, and they will work for most content. What am I doing? Yeah, 14 million, so even free to play could get that. It's just they're not as good. They lack some of the special features that, you know, the T6 have. They have no specialization seats. They're going to have less HP. A few things are lost, but they still will handle most things. And by most things, I of course mean basically everything but the hardest elite queues. Um, by the way, I can't show it, but the parse from that ISA I did before with the Defiant, which I'm about to run another one here, was 134.5. So it wasn't ideal, but yeah. Oh no. Yeah, he's got some. I haven't looked at those. Just as long as they're not exceed rated limit builds that I'm gonna have to tell people are terrible when they're trying to compete with rapid fire. It'll be fine. Some of his builds, I'm glad we have people like him going out and doing the free builds. It's just sometimes when they get into the higher level builds, it can be a bit frustrating because then you have people out there that are trying to do those builds, and like with him specifically, I have no issue with Timber. I was on the stream with him for a while there. It's just there was one of his builds, I think it was that Exceed Rage Limits one, where he was in a team that was specifically, set up for that run, and it was over on Tribble. It was not a realistic example of what one should expect from that, and it was just giving people a really bad impression of it. And the build itself was very hard for people to actually go and copy. I had to tell a few people that I ran into that were trying to do it that if they're wanting to do single target stuff, they're not going to get the results they were wanting. Like, I think it was Fleet Greg. I told him if he wants to get the single target stuff down, he needs to stop trying to do it with beams because beams are terrible right now for single target focus. And he needs to just move over to rapid fire with cannons, and he's had a nice jump up now that he's done that. But back on topic here, Kaiser. I don't know. You'd have to talk to Omega about that. He's been doing PvP more than I for the last few months. I think Omega's over on damage now, or he's doing a mix. I was using full damage mods on my PvP setup. Kaiser, I don't know there for sure. Yeah, and everyone gets another free T6 ship next month. The Vorgon Cruiser, most likely. Okay, cooldowns are good. ISA. I think Omega's tried many things. I think he's pretty much tried about every combination you can do. Now these things just are not going down like they were before. Very, very smooth 8 FPS here. It's very cinematic. How laggy is this for you guys to watch? Because it's like 10 FPS right now. So laggy. Yeah, it's really bad. This laptop just can't handle. Let's look at the price for that. I'll tell you the numbers because I can't actually show it on this lovely laptop. If you have the Keldon, I don't know. You should have the new Spiral Waves. I'm just going to catch up on chat. The Gamma Rep Warp Core, I have not looked at anything other than the trait from the Gamma Rep yet. When they were being tested on Tribble, they weren't working, so. Adam, I've read conflicting comments as it pertains to flying any ship regardless of career. Yeah, you can do that. There's absolutely no issue with that. I've got some of my tax set up in Psy ships. My ROM owns a cruiser, yeah. Arthur, yeah, different types of disruptors. As was mentioned, coalitions work pretty well. Yeah, I had Promise of Ferocity on there. But I just realized my heavy weapon's not Epic or Mark 15 on this. Yeah, the sensor link disruptors, the Discovery ones, are really good. The supply is a bit low on those, but that won't be much of an issue in about 2 months. The issue is that I have my laptop hooked up to an external display, and the external display, even though there's not much on it, it's a 1440p ultra wide, so it's eating up a bit for the GPU or something there. I don't know what the exact issue is, but it just can't quite handle it. So this thing has a i7 6700 HQ in it, which has Intel integrated HD 530 graphics, and then it's got a GeForce 960M in it. So it should be able to handle it by itself, but in this current setup, it just can't handle it. And it's just really hard for me to not have at least this main monitor going, because especially with the stream, I've got the live chat up on it, I've got the parser, I've got OBS open on it. Yeah. My laptop needs something. This was a good laptop, though. I got it for a really good deal. It was a Dell President's Day sale in 2016. It was like $650. You know, for an i7 and a 960 at the time, that was a decent deal. And before that, like, that was before I built my current desktop, so like my graphics card back then, I was using the 7850 for a little bit on the AMD FX desktop I had, and then for a bit I had a 280X, and then I jumped from the 280X to a 970, which I got cheap via that deal that popped up in, I think it was summer of 16, where you could get one brand new for $150. And I went from that, I went to a 1070, then the 1070 to a 1080 Ti. So, how long do I think it will take for the new GPU to go boom again? So, I bought a 1080 Ti. It was a really stupid investment, being I'll still have to pay that back. I bought that last September or August, I want to say. The first one lasted a month. The second one lasted 9 months, and now this third one, as long as the trend is that it lasts, longer, I'll be fine with it. As long as it's still in the warranty. But I'll probably sell the 1080 Ti and get the 1180 whenever it comes out. Just because, updated stuff and I can pretty much trade. And the sister that won't leave me alone. Okay, the disruptor stuff, they're not getting anything from running the various types, really, because procs don't do much. I mean, the Terra in DHC, you just run that because that thing just does so much damage. But the others, they're not getting much out of it. They're just running it for the rainbow, basically. Also, Kaiser, I think Omega's current setup, he posted a video like 2 or 3 days ago about his current setup on his Inge Pilot Warbird. Now, that was my sister. And nah. Just telling me to take down laundry, which already most of it's down there, so. Yeah, I'm off topic. Forget what I was talking about. Oh yeah, Omega's current setup, he's on Spiral Wave dual heavy cannons. He's even doing them over the Terran, which I was surprised a bit about that. He's just running 5 of the Spiral Wave Disruptor dual heavy cannons. Does anyone have any questions? Probably won't be going for too much longer because I need to go down and be listening for UPS here in a little bit. I've got a package coming from Perfect World and then from Corsair. I'm very curious to see what the Perfect World thing is. Does YouTube pay you anything for your content? So I will admit I messed around with the ads a little bit. Most of my videos are monetized, but the amount I make from them isn't much. Like, I don't think I can go over the exact numbers, but it's a pitiful amount. Now, I did mess around with the advertisements on some of the longer videos, like these streams. I messed up when I turned them on the one time I did the auto increment thing where it put them in, and it put like 50 of them into one video, which some people noted, and I went in and fixed that. But like for these hour, 2 hour long streams, I found that adding in like 1 or 2 advertisements throughout the video. So you have the one that plays at the start, then like do 140 minutes in, another 80 minutes in. Yeah, like the ads, you don't have to watch them. You just like if they're the ones that pop up with like a skip button, as long as they show up for you, that counts. You don't actually have to watch the entire thing. But it's the typical rate is about $2 for every 1,000 views. So if you want to go through and look at things, you'll see that's not much. And there was one video that is slightly outdated that I did intentionally spam with ads because for some reason it gets a lot of views still. So the ads are a little deterrents, and if they are going to keep watching it, then that video makes even more money for some reason. And that video is the 150,000 DPS Universal Escort build. I need to get an updated version of that done because that's a pre-Season 13 video. Most of it I think still works. I don't know if I had a bunch of plasma consoles on that. Which ads pop, or do you get, like, on some of these videos, do you get ads that pop up during the middle of the stream where you, or whatever, that you can't close out of? Because those, I want to try to avoid anything like that. I only want ones to pop up where people can skip or, block. If you block them, though, with an ad block, it completely screws them over. But, like, if you ad block them, that gets no revenue, but I'm looking into other ways for that. Because right now, the amount I make off YouTube just barely covers the amount that you spend for a Adobe subscription for the student version. So that gives you an idea of how much I would make off YouTube ads a month. Yeah, these live streams shouldn't have really many ads. It's when you go and watch them afterwards where where the ads would start to pop up. Because it'll have the one at the start, then I put one in 40 minutes in. Basically every 45 minutes is when I was thinking would be decent. And looking at the last month, doing that has pretty much tripled the amount that the streams get. Okay, enough sitting around though. Let's do something else. Can we get a cure to pop? That is the question. Nah, I get more than that. An Adobe subscription with student for the student version, because I can get that while I'm in college here. It's $240 a year. So break that down, and if most months on YouTube are just barely covering that. It should just be like Omega Fighter. It's not much of a burden. It's not like I'm doing anything else right now. I'm gonna have to be hopping off here shortly though, because they're heading out and I need to be able to answer the door. Also need to get some food. It's so laggy. There we go. It's buttery smooth. Invite to 75K. Yeah. Okay, is there any final questions then? If not, I'm going to end the stream. I will say too, I will be doing, for sure, stream on Friday. I might do one on Tuesday. I can't do one on Wednesday, like I was thinking about earlier. I've got technician coming out for my internet on Wednesday. So either Tuesday or Thursday I'll do an extra stream. STO voice chat, I have no idea. I've just always got it disabled. There's with these locators, it's just you get more out of running the locators. The exploiters, there's how many other ways you can get crit D, easier. It's not as easy to get this much crit chance. And really, you've got so much crit severity from other things that it's just not worth sacrificing this crit chance for some crit severity. These are equal to a full crit H mod on your weapons, and those crit severity ones, like half a mod. I don't know the Mark 15 epic numbers on them, but they're not gonna be that great. Have I tested the Cardassian frigates that are equipable on any ship? No, I have not. Unfortunately, shortly after Victory's life, my graphics card went out, and I have been waiting for a replacement one for the last 2 weeks, basically. Which it's going to finally be here on Monday, so... Yeah, I've never used STO voice chat. I have 4 cannon locators on the Defiant. Then I've got the multi-conduit for the Counter Command 2-piece. Good thing looking at OBS today is at least the laptop had no dropped frames. So at least it's got that going for it. No, that's never been an issue. You can run 6 of them if you had the Maquis Raider. Or the Zentar. There's no limit like that. No. They all add the exact same buff. It's Cat 1, so it's not as much, but it's the exact same number each time. It's just when you're adding a bunch of them together, it's... the bonus doesn't seem like it's as much, but in reality they are all exactly what they say. Also, yeah, Paul, I kept that on. I'm sorry. I forgot to answer that one before. I recall you posting it up above. Yeah, I kept that console on because with the ACK overflow, that's still a substantial amount. I need to do more testing with it, but everything I've done so far points towards it being worth using. What I was going to say there was a few weeks ago, might have been a month or so back, I had picked up an S or a SATEF, I guess the C6 version's called. Because they were like 450 mil, and I said it was probably not going to sell for much. I ended up needing to sell that thing for like 260. That's crazy. Never choose this ship with an Infinity T6 box. It's not worth it. Any advice on fleet management for a new fleet? So my advice is, like, you see a lot of fleets where they go and base promotions off of... wait, this isn't my fleet. Oops. Let me show, look at TVCs. Because that one I actually know. A lot of fleets go out and base their promotions off of, like, how many days someone's been in a fleet, or some fleets will mix it up and complicate it. You either need to you just need to stick to one thing. Like, either go based off contributions or how many days, but don't do both. Like, that's one of the things that gets annoying. Like, and also when it comes to your ranks, don't go and make them all super special, because going through and actually promoting people is a pain. Even with the export feature that we now have, where you can export your roster to something you can open up in Excel, it is a lot of work. So going based on days or contributions are really easy. Contributions are what we pretty much go on exclusively with TVC now, and it's just very easy. But like, you're gonna have a lot of ranks that are doing the same thing, so don't get too worried. Like with TBC, ranks 2, 3, and 4, they're the exact same thing. Like, I'll have people come and ask, hey, can we get a promotion? You know, that are at like rank 2 and they want to get up to rank 3, and it's like, yeah, it's the same thing though, so. This probably isn't the best advice ever, but what I do, because with TBC, as I said, these ranks are the exact same. There's no different permission we can really give. Okay, someone set different permissions there for some reason, but the permissions are basically all going to be the same for those ranks. We've got for the colony, okay. But what I do is I promote people up to rank 2, and then after that, I don't promote. Like, unless they ask for it, because it's the same thing. Because I don't feel like spending an hour every few weeks to go through and figure out who needs to be at what rank. It's just too much work. Just lay it out and give them easy store access, and when they want a promotion, let them ask for it. Like, don't go through and burn your time, because half the people ain't even gonna care. More than half. As long as they've got store access and projects are rolling that they can contribute to, they don't care. And yeah, new fleets, all I can say is get up to tier 1 in your colony holding. But after tier 1, just start provisioning. Don't actually try to build this thing, because you seriously need like $2,000 to $3,000 worth of dilithium to get this from tier 4 to tier 5. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So as long as people have store access, that's the big thing. With TPC, we've got enough provisions. Once your fleet has enough provisions, you can pretty much drop the requirement for people to contribute, because you build up so many of these provisions that you're never going to use them all. Am I going to use 10,000 of these embassy provisions anytime soon? Nope. we went through and pretty much just said screw it a while back. Later last year, I think I did the change. We just give every rank in the fleet access to the stores now. There's no point at this point in the game where stuff has progressed so far. You have so many of the provisions built up. There's no point to restrict that stuff. It's not like fleets are a social thing anyways. Fleets are just shopping malls to me. Like, I know that's probably a bad way to look at it, but you know, social wise, you've got like all the various chat channels. You want to get into queues, you got things like the DPS channels. You want to run stuff to people, DPS channels. You want to talk to people, well, you're never going to have enough people on in the most fleet or armada chats to really have much activity. So if you want to talk to people in game, you find chat channels you want to, you know, that are about the things you want to talk about. For general stuff, you've got Reddit chat, the most active social channel in the game. It's just fleets really, if it's hard to say for new fleets too, because you're as a new fleet on PC, you're competing against all of these fleets that will just hand access away to stuff. I mean, look at it like this. You got the Armada. If you're just some low-level fleet, basically just starting up, you're competing against fleets that are on top of being huge and having easy access stores, are going to have up to a 20% XP bonus, making it easier for people to level up. It's very hard for new fleets, basically. I got time for maybe one or two more questions, if anyone has any. I sort of rambled on a bit there. And Dane, like with TBC, we have so many provisions, and we don't go out and actively recruit really that often anymore. Either we have, you know, people join to, you know, to buy something, or they're joining to stay. We really don't care, like, if they use provisions. I need to rename this character now too. The NX refit build, when I last showed it off on stream, that's still basically how that ship is set up. I haven't changed it yet. I'll likely be changing it over from scatter volley to rapid fire, now that I have all the traits on my Fed. Need to figure out a good name for this character. I renamed 2 characters last week. I renamed my Fed tack from Sterling Archer to Top Fleet Player, which is just like an old joke that popped up on Reddit a few years back. Some guy came in being a bit of a dick and claimed he was a top fleet player, and he was really bad. I think if you Google top fleet player, it's got the thread. Top fleet player STO. It's a fun read if you have a few minutes. And then I renamed my Trump character that I used for opening lockboxes back in 2016. I renamed it to that Mail Me Master Keys. Yeah, I don't worry about that much. It's just never really been much of an issue for us. The only provision we constantly burn through as we get is the Spire attack consoles. Just on stuff. Trying to get this fleet up, get a few more levels in the Armada. Not like we need it, but it's always nice to have more. And if you're running a fleet for fleet management, this is what you get to get used to. Slotting all these things, and when it comes to DOFs, you are going to be filling the DOFs yourself. Okay, well that wraps it up. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I will be doing a stream for sure next next Friday, and I'll likely try to sneak one in on Tuesday or Thursday when I have my desktop back up and running. So, be doing some stuff, messing around with some of these builds I've been working on in Hive Space Elite and stuff. If there's not a second stream, then I'll just have more videos out or something. So I will see you all around, and I am glad that those character names have been an inspiration. This Mail Me Master Keys actually worked. Oh yeah, I could do that. How to start a bank fleet, yeah. When I have the desktop up and running. Okay, I'll see you all around. As soon as I get out of this full screen window.